All right, mic check, 1, 2. Looks good.
Microphone check.
Yes, sir. We're both coming through loud and clear. And welcome aboard, everybody. This is Fly In Formation. My name is Doobyis. I'm here today with Myer Clarity. He's a Toronto-based MC, producer, engineer, man with many hats, and I'm happy to have him on board. So thanks for joining me today, Myer. How you doing?
Oh, man. Thank you so much for having me, brother. I really appreciate it. I am doing phenomenal. It is a beautiful Saturday. This time zone difference is hitting just right because I'm an afternoon kind of guy. Perfect. So this is great. But yeah, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. So this month I'm going like double time. We're doing normally it's just Tuesday afternoons or Tuesday evenings for these live interviews, but this month I'm doing Saturdays as well. So got 9 different artists to talk to. You're the first on the list here, June 1st. So
snap!
Happy to have you, man. Yeah.
Kicking it off. Let's go.
Yeah, man. So you got the new album, of course. One Day I'll Get My Shit Together. I loved it, dude. I felt like it must have been a long time coming. Hey, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Because I know
Thank you for listening, man.
You've dropped a lot of albums prior to that, and this was another self-produced album. I'm correct in saying, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, everything except for track 4, which has guest production from Ryan Dimitri, who you'll know from that Dilemma song that Nelly did way back in our childhoods.
Word. Okay, back to the classics. Yeah, I remember that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How did?
The rest is all self-prod. Sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
No, how did that come together, man? How the hell did you land that production placement?
Man, that was there's some like stars align in like weird ways that you can't really like take credit for, which is kind of what one of my main gripes with like a lot of panels is, where it's like, oh, this is the road to my success, and you're like, all right, well, you can't really quantify luck, but whatever, go ahead. So yeah, really what happened was I have a manager, Michael Williams, that of all people my aunt introduced me to because she knew him through some old radio shit, and he's a VJ. He used to run Soul in the City back in Montreal. So yeah, he was like bringing hip hop to Canada in like the 70s, 80s kind of thing. And he hooked me up with Ryan through, how did that happen again? It was just sort of like, I think it was through Divine Taylor who facilitated it, or he was just on the peripheries of it. But anyways, someone greased someone else's palm, not literally, but someone like was like, hey, check this kid out, and then they're like, okay, this kid's dope, let's see what he can do. And then
so through your management knowing people, you managed to kind of get the connection then, basically.
Exactly. But then the thing is that it's like, it's management that's like not day to day, but more like we'll check in once a year and be like, oh yeah, I got an opportunity. And I was like, all right, cool, you still good? So it's a little like out of left field occasionally. So it's just kind of like, oh, I have no idea how that happened, but I'm really glad it did, and I didn't want to drop the ball.
Beautiful, man. No, I don't think you did drop the ball. The album is tight, man. Really, like,
respect. Thank you, man.
Of course, well produced and just artistically on point too. I really dig it. A lot of guys kind of blend the hip hop pop styles and lose me a little bit, and you managed not to do that. I'm not mad at any of those tracks on there. I listened to the album again today, and listening to it, dude, I was like thinking to myself, okay, so it's called One Day I'll Get My Shit Together, but from where I'm sitting, man, like, you're running a studio in Toronto with Fresh Kills, you're putting out professionally produced, professionally shiny sounding music that could take you places. Like, it seems from the outside observer standpoint that you have your shit together to a pretty solid degree. You just mentioned your manager and stuff. Like, you might be more put together than the average artist who I talk to or who I see doing their thing out there. Can you talk a little bit about just the title of the album?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I need to thank you for those positive words of affirmation, because in my head, it's all on fire. You know what I mean? It's all just, oh shit, what's next kind of thing. So yeah, it's, it does help a lot, and it does mean a lot to hear someone say that, and to just sort of get that like external validation that it's like, oh, okay, it I'm yelling at myself 24/7, like, bro, you're fucking this up, you're fucking this up. So I'm glad that like from the outside looking in,
I think a
it
lot of
doesn't
artists
seem
are their own worst
like
critic, man. That's what that sounds like to me. Yeah.
type of thing, right? And that is like the segue into the title of the album, where it's like I perpetually feel like I don't have my shit together. And while like, and thank you for the kind words on the album, like while the
Of course, man.
production, I'm super grateful to, for example, Kyle Whitaker, who did the mixing, and Gabe Gallucci, who did the mastering. They both snapped on that. So I'm grateful to that team for getting it where it was. And yeah, I guess from the outside looking in, it's the grass is always greener, right? We're always trying to like, you know, decodify the mystique of our heroes and so on and so forth. And then that was like, and let me know if I'm rambling, but that's kind of like an example of me moving to Toronto is like, because I'm originally from Montreal and I want to move here to like,
Be in the
hobnob
hub,
and like,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
like get part of the scene and everything like that. Yeah, I'm like, this is where it's happening, right? This is where I got to be. So yeah, it was kind of like that. And then you get here and you meet heroes, and then you realize that they're just also panicking like you are, in the sense of like, oh shit, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? So it's like, before you know it, you're one of those people too, and it's interesting. And
Yeah, man.
yeah, no,
So
this is ultimately a positive. But yeah,
before you moved out to Toronto, like, did you know where you were going to land out there? Did you know Fresh Kills?
um, I had a couple connects in Toronto already, sort of. So I had like, excuse me, I had my first tour ever with Philly Moves, so Tynan and John, and they brought me out to I think like 4 or 5 different Ontario dates. And yeah, no, that shit was formative. So I had them in my corner, and then I think I was like starting to brew a little something with Ill Vibe back in the day when he was doing the Survival of the Illest tours. And then I didn't know Fresh Kills back when I moved here. But I ended up meeting him around like 2016 through a show at Hard Luck / SRH, who now goes by Benny Main. So it's just, yeah, it's like, it's cool, weird osmosis things. But yeah, I just tried to keep myself open to like, going out and being at the shows, doing the shows, meeting the people and everything.
Yeah,
And
man. As much as
yeah,
people talk about how there's like a million rappers nowadays and everybody who has a microphone thinks they're a rapper or whatever, like there really aren't that many people that are doing it. The circles tend to be pretty small and they tend to overlap a lot. So yeah, once you
yeah,
start meeting a couple people, it becomes easier and easier meeting more of them, I think, dude. Um,
it's very much like like a real recognize real kind of situation where you're just like, okay, these numbers are inflated, but this person's actually doing this kind of thing, and then you
yeah.
recognize the skill.
Yeah, for real, man. We can tell who's buying the plays or whatever. We know about them.
No.
Dude, can we talk a little bit about the recording process for the album? Like, I know. Okay, so we kind of
Yes, sir.
touched bases a few years back. Like, I first encountered you and your music through. I think it's D.O. Gibson organizes the like Northern Power Summit. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, sir. And he is technically my other manager,
Okay. Uh,
depending on who you ask. So that'll create conflict every now and then. No, but yeah, Dio's the man. Much love to Dio.
the management has to duke it out from time to time.
Type of thing. Type of
That's
thing.
a good spot to be in as an artist, man. I mean, having
That's two legends right there.
yeah,
So that's I can't complain at all.
for real. But so I saw you speak at that, alongside like illustrious people like Wendy Day and whatever. I've been tapped in with Wendy Day's podcast, The Cheat Code, ever since then, picking up
Heck
game
yeah.
from that. But
Right
um,
on.
I think like I talked to you soon after that, and you sent over a bunch of music, and some of that music was on this new album that just got released, and that must have been what 3 years ago now, something like that. Like that was during pandemic time, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe even like 4 almost now.
yeah, right. Yeah, real early, and this is the fifth season of After the Smoke is Clear now, and I feel like that was when I was
God
just
damn.
starting to tap in, right? So yeah, dude, time just flies by whether we want it to or not. But
Time's crazy like that. Yeah.
yeah, man. So I did want to ask, like, how long has this project been kind of in the works for?
Well, yeah, that's a great question because yeah, no, this project, much like the title, has been taking forever. It's been at least 5 years that I've been working on this record. Um, It started back when I was still working with Heavy Ox, which was around like 2019. And we were in the height of our pop hit writing era where like we'd meet twice a week and write pop songs. And then so I'm like, all right, let me get my Post Malone bag in. And so I started working on a couple joints, the first of which became Love Me When I'm High, which was one of my pitches to our writing trio, but it didn't make the cut. So I took it for myself and I was like, all right, let me personalize it a little. And then next up was One Day I'll Get My Shit Together. And both of those were kind of like written in the end of 2019.
Okay.
And basically, I was hoping to have this project like ready to go by 2020. And then pandemic hit, and then like thing after thing after thing after thing.
Did you kind of pump the brakes because of pandemic? And it's like, well, I can't do a release party. I can't go tour anyways. So let's slow this down. Yeah. Okay.
I had to slow it down, but also, you know, like I'm ADHD as fuck, right? His backdrop is basically like what the inside of my brain looks like. You know, we got medications right here and everything. Like, yeah, no. So, I get sidetracked with like a million and one missions, right? So it'll be like, I'll get so sidetracked that like, yeah, I'll end up, you know, we end up running a studio and then we get evicted from that studio. We run another studio elsewhere. And then next thing I know, I'm working on a movie and I'm doing Foley work for a movie. And then next thing I know, I'm a graphic designer for half of the artists I know. Right. And then now I'm everyone's go-to engineer. And then now everything's shut down again. And then, yeah, so it's just all over the map.
Yeah, well, but, putting other people's projects together probably takes a lot of kind of capacity or whatever out of a guy too, just to be actually hands-on involved with other artists putting their projects together too.
For sure. And I definitely try to like sorry if I cut you off.
No.
But I definitely try to give like everything the like Dr. Dre / artist treat, right? Because it's like the first thing I started with was writing raps, and I was writing raps, and then I did beats, and then so I was from engineer to engineer till I finally figured out how to do it for myself. And the thing that I was always bumping up against was that the song never sounded how it sounded in my head when I was done with it, and I wanted to fucking figure out what was doing that. So I kind of learned the artist language in a different way, where it was like, all right, no, it's got to sound how you hear it in your head. Yeah. And I think that's how I end up engineering a lot of projects like the Ski Views Tips projects and the tour support with Boney Washington and all the Danielle Knowles stuff as well.
Right. I think being an artist yourself goes a long way towards kind of helping artists achieve that fully formed picture or whatever. And even just as far as like being able to make suggestions and things like that, and have the artist in the booth actually trust you a little bit, because they know they're like, oh, okay, well, that dude's dope out there too, so maybe if he's suggesting this, I should actually listen to it, as compared to just working with some engineer at some studio who's used to recording like country music or whatever. I'm out here in Alberta, so there's a lot of those kind of studios out there where they don't know how the fuck to approach hip hop or whatever. But
yeah, I had my fair share of those where it's like either like a rock engineer or a country guy, and then the vocals are buried and they're like, no, you got to do it all in one take. And I'm like, yeah, you should know how to do it, but like some stuff is like, if you're not gonna comp it, then what the fuck are we doing?
Right. Yeah. You might as well be putting out like a live album or whatever, right? Put out the
right. Like,
do the performance and record it nice and call that an album. But yeah.
Listen, movies do multiple takes for a reason.
For real.
So yeah, why are we limiting ourselves? Like that's silly. One take is gonna have a rasp that the other take doesn't, and if you could get the best of every moment, why the fuck not?
Yeah, man, for sure.
Which goes back to the perfectionism, which goes back to me taking 5 goddamn years to drop an album. Hey,
yeah, man. Dude, I mean, I think it was time well spent or whatever. Good finished project. But I did want to ask, like, so for most of your recording process, like, are you, I mean, like I've got a mic booth over there and kind of do the home studio deal where it's like press record and set the loop up and go jump in the booth and do 5 takes in a row or whatever for myself, right? But when you're recording, like for most of the recording for this album, did you have kills running the engineer side of things, or like what did it
Fuck, I
actually look like?
wish.
Yeah.
I wish. No, it was a lot of solo dolo like yourself.
Yeah. There's
And then it
power in
got
that too, though, right? Like that does allow you to do as
there
many
is,
fucking
yeah.
takes as you want, and you don't feel like there's somebody looking at you funny outside the
And you can
booth.
say
Yeah,
you could try like weird shit and falsettos that
yeah,
are gonna take a while to nail, and you don't want someone else to struggle through that. Yeah, no, 100%. The process is really just like, yeah. So this is the magic over here. I've had this AT4040 for like a decade plus, and it's still trooping despite all of the weed smoke that I
yeah.
subjected to.
Dude, I've had an
Uh,
AT2020 that like is what I'm talking into for the podcast here. I have a different
there you go.
studio mic, but yeah, man, these things they take a beating. I just like don't even know where this thing's case is. I've moved with it 4 times and it just keeps plugging in and
Beastly.
working. So yeah, there we go.
We are grateful to Audio Technica. Send us free shit.
Yeah, yeah, right.
No, yeah, I need new headphones too. So that's the Hanukkah gift.
So, but do you end up doing like solo studio sessions with yourself till 4 in the morning kind of deal, or
Yeah,
what's
so it let's see. Like I don't want to ramble because I've noticed myself rambling a bunch of times, but
no,
um
this is the format for it, man. I'll cut you off, and likewise, feel free to cut me off because
give me
sometimes I'm
the
just saying shit too.
no, you good. Give me the Oscar treatment though. Just play music in the background. No, yeah, so the process is really just like it shifts from like song to song, but I found that some of the recipe for success was like kind of like for one day I'll get my shit together. I had a placeholder beat that I wrote to, and then I ended up replacing the placeholder beat with all self-produced stuff, and it was like night and day. It was a completely different song because the first one kind of sounded like some like no worries Anderson .Paak like chill shit, and then it ended up turning into like it's still like I think it's still Anderson .Paak inspired, which was kind of the blueprint, but it's a lot more like this is a nighttime record now. This is like a going out on the town and painting it red when
Yeah,
it originally was like a hey, I'm gonna smoke weed and hang out on the balcony all day.
dude. Yeah,
Um,
the horns on that the current version of it or whatever. It's nice. That's a real nice record. I like
yeah,
that one, man. Yeah,
Troy Dowding on the horns.
beautiful.
He absolutely snapped on that. And actually, speaking of Fresh Kills was the one who recommended getting some live brass on that when I first showed it to him back in 2019.
Nice.
So yeah, it's that song's been on a journey. Yeah, and then so in terms of the process, like for the for I guess like a lot of the ones on this one, it was like running back and forth between the booth. So then I would have like an actual ISO booth that I'd run into and hit records at the loop, run and dash, and
Yeah.
then over the last couple of years, I found myself getting lazier and just doing the Kanye West, where I lean into this mic and I'll do 4 bars and then I'll listen and be like, all right, next 4. Um, and that cranks out a different result. And I think it's just more flavors. So, you don't throw one out just because you have another one, but a new tool is a new tool and
For real.
it's gonna be fun to fuck around with.
There's no one right answer with any of this like studio shit, man. I find, people giving tips. The homie Skizza was telling me like he does 2 dubs so that he can pan one right and one left, and I was like, yeah, I've heard of that before. So like I tried it on the last take and sent it over to him like that or whatever. Sounded good, but like, does it sound better than the way I normally? I don't know. I mean, it's just different flavors for different folks or whatever, I think, right?
Exactly. And I think the record will tell you what it wants to. And like, yeah, like, I've found myself I like the left right pan for a lot of shit too. Like, especially if it's like production heavy or I want more tones in my voice where it's not just like the main thing. But then if I
Yeah.
want to do like a super compressed, like Pusha T kind of just like talking right in your face kind of thing, yeah, that'll probably not do too many backups for or nothing like that.
For real, man. Yeah. So you got a track on there called Trouble where you're
Yes, sir.
talking about like we're having bad times, but I'm not the bad guy. And then you've got another track called World's Brokest Billionaire where you talk about how like, even if you did become a billionaire, you'd probably still be out doing the same shit. And I
Hmm.
wanted to know like if you became a billionaire, would that make you the bad guy? Like it
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of like because this album took so long, a lot of the songs can conflict with each other thematically. So yeah, totally. No, that's
I didn't find it as much of like,
you
oh,
got me.
he's you know,
No.
conflicted with himself here or whatever. He's I can't even think of the right word, but
No, I hear you. It's like, well, hey, we're multifaceted creatures. No one's 100% anything.
for real, man.
Which is the nuance of humanity, which is why we are prone to fucking up. But yeah, no, the billionaire track was really just more of like the sentiment of like, rags to riches kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it just started out as millionaire, and as the cost of living went up, I'm like, that's not even a flex anymore, I guess, because you need to be a millionaire to own a fucking house,
Yeah, right.
supposedly. So
In
yeah,
Toronto, anyways, for sure, man. Yeah.
which I could we could literally talk the whole rest of the podcast about fucking housing crisis, which is what Trouble's about.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
fully.
Lee Reed and I talked about the housing crisis. He's a guy who can definitely talk about the housing crisis, and
Absolutely.
he told me what I already know, but he told it in a very nice, concise way that we need to form tenant unions and that we need to battle these fucking leech landlords. So
Facts,
yeah,
facts.
we'll summarize that entire topic into just that, so that we don't have to talk about it the whole time. But
No, but he snaps. I saw him at Bovine a week ago, actually, for the that July Talk drummer who did the rap album, whose
yeah,
name I'm forgetting. But yeah, he snapped at that show. That shit was dope.
yeah, shouts to Lee Reed. That guy's a legend for sure, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you talk a little bit about Skeevious Tips on your new single Hiatus, which isn't on the new project. Is it newer than the new project, or
It is way newer than the new project. Yeah.
right? Okay.
And if I had my shit together, it would be on the album. It's supposed to be.
Had you already sent the album out to the whatever digital posting providers or whatever the fuck it's called? Digital.
Yeah, the
ESPs?
aggregator there, the
Yeah.
Rambo over at DistroKid.
That DistroKid.
I
Right.
got an email from that guy. I don't think he's real. There's a guy named Rambo at DistroKid apparently.
I use
But
CD Baby still. Everybody's pissed off
Good
with
for you.
DistroKid, and I was like, I guess I made the right choice accidentally 5 years ago when I decided to start using CD Baby. But
you did. That's who I started out with. Yeah, no, they're proper with it. I don't know why I switched back to DistroKid. I don't know. I'm just perpetually panicking. But I'm hoping to make a move over to Symphonic soon.
okay,
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
is that the new one? I was gonna say, like, I think that DistroKid is cheaper, but I've seen people posting about like fuckery with them taking their stuff off Spotify because Spotify reports it as like getting botted streams from fucking playlists that they didn't even ask to be on or whatever. So
I've luckily never had anything like that happen, which is amazing considering all the bullshit that happens.
Yeah.
Like my YouTube's been demonetized. Lost my Twitter account, all kinds of goofy shit. So like, yeah, it's a miracle that hasn't happened.
Was YouTube demonetized over political talk, or what the fuck did you do for that?
I showed my asshole on the screen. No,
that'll do it. Yeah,
it was art. No, what happened was this was early days of monetization, like 2011. I tried to monetize my first video, and basically it was like in beta, and they're like, okay, yeah, and then it didn't. I got an email one day saying like your video didn't perform as expected, so what we're gonna do is we've gone ahead and given your ad revenue to the advertiser as a compensation, and we're going to demonetize your channel. And then every time I've followed it up since, I just get the copy pasted like invalid click activity. I'm like, well, that never was a thing. And then the kicker is the email that I got, that like the email address was like an old Hotmail account. And I tried to log in like about 5 years ago, and then it was like, no, we're only doing like Outlook now, and so we're going to delete everything. Right. Like, oh, cool, great, thanks, that's helpful. So that's the loss to the sands.
Fuckery, man. Yeah. So I did want to ask though about Skeevious Tips. We recently lost Skeevious Tips to cancer, I believe. Right. Rest in peace. Yeah.
Rest in peace.
How long had you guys known each other? What was the relationship like there?
We met in the early days of the Ill Vibe saga. Yeah, I think he opened for us at the We Are the Aliens release show. and then we'd sort of been working on the periphery then, and then he started booking time at the studio, and over time we just started working more and more consistently to the point where we were like Snoop and Dre in the studio, and he would just come through and we both blaze up and then work on create some magic. And that's how we ended up making Bridge Fires. And that was in the original, like the basement of the No Damn Good studios in the rehearsal factory. So what you call it, yeah, we would just be like, it was like a rehearsal factory, right? So you got like bands playing left and right, and you're trying to compete with dad rock all the time. But we built a booth. We said, fuck it, let's try it. And then eventually we ended up moving upstairs because the owner was chill and he smoked too. And so he ended up blessing us with that because we were also stoners. So shit connects. But yeah, no, Skeeves was just like, he just sort of like taught me how to chill the fuck out a lot. And just, just like this tranquil spirit that was like, all right, nah, it's not that deep. Let's just focus on this. Let's just focus on the music. And then we ended up living together. I moved in with him, and he was my roommate for like 2 years. And then that's when the early pandemic started. And then I ended up moving in with my girl. And then, relationship was like tumultuous with me and Skeeves, just because we were both on opposite echo chambers of dumb shit. And yeah, man, it was just, I feel bad that we wasted time there, but we ended up like reconnecting a whole bunch of times because the music was always the most important priority.
Well, and feeling bad about wasting time there is kind of the topic of hiatus, right? Like you're talking about stepping away from music and kind of just how I think you mentioned that like you bought him an instrument of some sort to play at some point and he didn't even have a chance to use it or something along those lines.
I got it back from his pops because
somebody might as well use it.
But yeah, no, I brought that to him in the hospital because he had this Mac all set up. So I was like, you got GarageBand, let's fucking get you producing in here. Just just trying to like get his mind to get the gears turning and stuff, because nothing is better than hope on the horizon when that's
for real. Something to focus energy on goes a long way.
Exactly. So I was just like, I want to give my guys some goals or something just day to day to build towards, just anything,
dude,
right?
on my short list of songs that I've found and discovered over the past 5 years doing After the Smoke Is Clear, as far as like some of my favorite ones, his track with Wax, that Exhausted track, like he's talking about like, shit can always get worse or whatever, the shit could always be a little bit worse. And like, I can remember seeing his fucking Instagram story when he said like, I'm in the hospital, they say I've got fucking stage 4 cancer or whatever, and I was like, holy fuck, Jesus, that sucks, right? And then like he was gone like quick after that shit, man. Like, so fuck, dude, like it always can get a little bit worse. And every time I fucking hear that song now, I'm just like, this is a trip listening to dude rap about fucking working his life away and just being tired like that or whatever. Like, holy fuck, man. Sad
it's a
shit.
Trip. It's somber, and I'm still like chipping away at getting all his unreleased material out, because that and the Palmer Squares joint were both single 1 and 2 for album that's supposed to come out. So I'm still working on that with his pops.
Yeah, that was what I wanted to ask, man. Is there we will get more music from him, and you're working on it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a whole album that he did with me. There's a whole album he did with his other engineer, Alex Fugues, and we're just trying to meet in the middle and create something for everyone. It's just hell coordinating like a bunch of different motherfuckers, but we're trying to get it together so that the people get what they've been waiting for.
Shit, man. Thanks for putting in the work to do that. I can't even imagine the legwork that would be required to put together a posthumous album like that.
It's like you never think you're gonna have to do something like that, right? And then, man, it's fucking way harder than it looks. Like, and we all like, I don't know, we all grew up listening to a bunch of different posthumous albums, so there's always like, there's like obviously all the Tupac posthumous albums, and then a couple Biggie ones, and then
don't do them like Diddy did, man. Fucking
the Lil Peep.
As long as you don't get a bunch of random motherfuckers rapping with him that he didn't even know or whatever, don't do that to him.
Yeah, exactly. That's 100% what we want to avoid. Right. Like I'm trying to keep it true to the form and true to everything. and it's just, the first couple months you're just like, you try, and then it's too painful to even listen to the verses, and you're like, God damn it.
Yeah.
And you get mad because you're just like, yo, like all this guy's songs were about how hard it was and how much of a struggle it is, and like he wants to see a payoff, and it's like, I feel like he's owed a fucking payoff, because what the fuck,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so that's
Getting his flowers after he's gone is better than never getting them, though, dude. So yeah, props for putting in work
true
to
that, true that.
to get his music out to the world. He was super talented and he deserved to be heard. So
One of
um
the best lyricists, yes, sir.
yeah, man. Kind of on
Go
this
ahead.
somber note, I guess we can kind of transition into. I read your Spotify bio, and
Oh,
it talks about like how you have a signature sad raspy style that a lot of your listeners relate to. So like
yes, sir.
you're really good at making emotionally impactful, kind of reflective music that I think a lot of people will relate to on a deep emotional level like that.
Thank you.
And I kind of always wonder for guys who make sad music like that. I don't really ever fuck around and try to make sad music. I mean, like
Hmm.
here and there a little bit, but like for the most part, I've never really dabbled in that. So like, I always wonder for guys who that's their signature style or whatever. Like, do you ever worry about getting to a place in life where you're happy and like don't feel like making that music at a point? Like,
Nah, well, here's why. Just when you get in the songwriter rotation, you just do song triage. So I got happy joints. I just decide when they come out.
yeah,
And I'm not happy right now. No, but no. Like, I think it's cool to do like a well balanced thing too, right? And yeah, I lean harder on the sad just because, like, these are hard times and these are sad times, and I think that, like, that's the music that got me through a lot of hard times. So I kind of want to like give that back in a way, not like in a corny way, but just in a like, this is like, I make shit I want to hear, right?
yeah.
So I want more shit like that.
And I hear you, man.
There's
People need that music. That is needed music, and it ggets a lot of people through a lot of shit around the world, I think.
100%. I think like even if you don't even make much money or any money, if it gets one person through a shitty time that year, that's fucking justified. That's like, okay, what do you pay therapists? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So, like, so
A lot
yeah,
more than you pay Spotify or than you pay to your favorite artist to listen to their music one way or the other. Yeah.
type of thing. So, but just to dive into that a little more real quick. Another thing I also want to mention about the Spotify bio, it probably still says I'm sober there. I don't think I did a formal address to say that I was back off the wagon or on the way. I always forget which one it is.
Me too, man.
But
I
yeah,
don't understand that saying at all. Somebody's going to
yeah,
have to explain that one to me for me to start using that saying. But yeah.
I'm perpetually lost. But yeah, just just to address that, because I'm sure that's been hanging in the air. Yeah, no, I started drinking again this year. Started as a birthday celebration, and I kind of kept going, and we'll see. But it's just, yeah, I don't want to be like a hypocrite and lie to motherfuckers or anything like that. So I
Hypocrite.
got
That's the word I was looking for, and I couldn't think of it about your two songs there. Yeah. That's the one.
it's hypocritical right
No,
there.
no, man.
No,
I mean, I think there's a lot of strength in moderation, and for some people,
facts, yeah.
moderation isn't going to work or whatever. But to each their own. I think that's a personal decision that everybody needs to make for themselves, and all the power to you, man. And I think
Appreciate you, bro.
supporting people in sobriety is something that I've done, and as well, I've also cracked beers with a lot of people and had a lot of fun. So it is what
Yeah,
it
there you
is,
go.
man.
Yeah, life is a well-rounded experience. But yeah, man, helps me write sad songs. No.
I mean, so at the Northern Power Summit, when I first saw you speaking, you were talking about, I think, sobriety and mental health,
Mhm.
kind of like you were a speaker on those topics. And it did make me kind of wonder, like, I've always had a theory, anyways, for myself, that a lot of the best music has probably been made by people who weren't sober and who probably weren't in the best state of mental health. That I think that there's a lot of artistic power to be drawn from going through it.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
yeah, you'd agree with me on that one.
Yeah, I think so. You said it. You said it accurately, right? You're saying the best music is made, right?
A lot of
Now,
it, anyways. I mean, I'm sure there's some songs that are good that people have made while they're happy and sober, but yeah,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, that too. But basically, the way I see it is like when I'm at my most mentally ill, some of the like thoughts or sentiments I write are a lot more like cut through the noise
yeah,
versus when I'm like a little more calibrated. I like to dress it up and I write metaphors and this and that. And I think that the more you cut through the noise, the more people will resonate with it. Versus when you dress it up, not everyone gets the metaphor, and then you're losing a percentage, or you're not going to get everyone to that's going to get that second play and then get it. That's
right.
already gambling. Um, and then to expand on that is just like yeah, like super. Basically, it's all about like vulnerability, right? So like the more vulnerable you are, I think the more people can like, oh yeah, I fucks with this because it's honest.
Yeah, feels
And that
authentic. Yeah,
exactly, and especially like in the society we're in, where we're always being marketed to, the more vulnerable something seems, the more like trustworthy I think you can find it, because everything is always out to sell you something, right?
yeah.
So that's a thing,
And a lot
and
of the
then
mainstream stuff doesn't want to ever talk about kind of the fact that like everybody goes through shit. There's some
yeah,
mainstream music. I mean, Taylor Swift is probably making music about going through shit, but in hip hop especially, you don't hear a lot of music that isn't just like I'm fucking really dope and everything's really good in my life. Like there's a lot of that in the mainstream, I
in
feel
the
like.
mainstream, yeah. I mean, it's all marketing, right? So
Yeah.
it's like low hanging fruit. But I think there's enough like I think there's a wealth of super angsty and sad hip hop songs that I can go to still. But yeah,
Definitely.
they're definitely not like on the mainstream, I don't think.
Yeah,
I
they're not on the
mean,
Billboard chart right now necessarily, or
yeah,
yeah,
but then
typically.
again, there's probably some Eminem joints that'll at least there's an Eminem song about wife beating that
True.
is fucking like one of the hits and platinum. So
Very
people
true.
are wild. It's crazy. It's a wild fucking world.
I agree, man. I
you
agree.
know?
Uh,
Yeah.
dude,
It's terrible.
so
Anyways,
I did see you got good news recently, though. It must have put a smile on your face to hear you were going to be opening for Chaos coming up soon. Can you talk a little bit about that? And specifically,
absolutely.
I wanted to ask, what would the prep for that show look like compared to maybe the prep for just a more regular type of
Regular
show?
degular event.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, first of all, I'm super grateful to even be on the bill. They didn't have a Toronto event, but I scooped up the one nearest to me. So it's going to be Waterloo, so Kitchener, Waterloo area come through. We're going to fucking celebrate. I've always had a pretty good presence in Kingston as well. Just been some of the earlier tour stops. And yeah, man, Chaos is like, that's the goal, right? Like that's one of my personal bucket lists.
yeah. He's
And
a legend, man. And I think you guys
he's a
make
legend.
similar
Yeah.
music in that it's a mix
Oh,
between
thank you.
pop
The
and
same
being
stuff.
dope lyricists, like there's both of those elements in both of your guys' music.
I appreciate you saying so. Yeah, he's a major influence on like so many different levels, just musically, even style, even just all kinds of things, like just persona. Yeah, it's fucking surreal. I might even still be in a state of shock. No, but I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a good night. It's Robbie G's throwing the show. It's gonna be at Maxwell's. It's June 15th, so that's a Saturday. Come through. We're rocking. It's me and two other openers who I'm still have yet to be confirmed the details on. But in terms of what I'm doing to prepare for it, I'm trying to, I want to bust out a piano number. I want to do something above and beyond. I want to do the freestyle obstacle course. Basically, it's on me to dig in the bag and bring out all the tried and tested things that work,
The
and then
freestyle
maybe some,
obstacle course, like the super nat holds something up in the crowd, and
yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
say it.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, the super net, yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, that's
that's a hell of a
that's one of the
challenge,
fun
man.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done it successfully in the past, and I feel like that's a good one to bust out. I gotta sharpen the freestyles in advance because I
I was just gonna
may be
ask,
rusty.
man. Are you the type of MC who shows up at local ciphers and goes off the top just like for fun kind of deal?
I used to, and I still try to. I don't get out as much as I used to. I'm hermit mode.
Fair.
But yeah, I still try to get a couple freestyles in, at least a couple a week, just to stay sharp with it. And
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
it's back when like Skeeves was still kicking with us. Like, yeah, we would freestyle back and forth sometimes on late night shit.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
that would just keep us sharp too.
Living in close proximity with another MC, that's a good way to keep the blade sharp for sure, man.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah.
dude, I wanted to talk. You're pretty outspoken on political issues in a lot of your music and just in a lot of your like online presence and stuff. You're one of the few MCs who I actually see, actively saying things on social media sometimes, and
Right on.
posting about this or that happening in the community, and things that need to be addressed and should be. To me, an MC is supposed to speak for the community and raise issues like that. So,
For
props for
sure.
that. But
Thank you,
I,
man.
I wanted to say, so yesterday I was just scrolling the feed and I saw two MCs who I don't know their music, Chef G and Sleepy Hollow, are in the news right now, I guess, in the fucking feeds anyways, because Rosenberg saw them at a Trump rally and they
Ooh,
were like, advocating for go vote for Trump. And
wow.
Rosenberg turned around and like publicly said that like I sent texts to everybody at Hot 97 saying that we should kick these guys off of Summer Jam. And so it like kind of just was like stirring the pot up a little bit, and people, these artists, one of them posted some shit about like I didn't know that I had to have the same political beliefs to be on the bill or whatever. And
Type thing, but
yeah,
yeah.
it made me want to ask you, like, not specifically about that situation, but just kind of uh say somebody came in, wanted to record like a pro Pierre Polivier slash Trump, whatever, and wants to make that anthem with you. Like, would you
Well,
ever pump the brakes on a situation like that and be like, nah, I don't think we're doing this in my studio? Like,
like gray area shit. Yeah, okay, yeah.
if Tom
You
McDonald
know,
shows up knocking on the door.
I haven't hit that limit yet, but I'm curious when it is because I've had a couple close calls. But I also kind of like, I guess it's like, like people will come through the studio, they'll record a joint, and then they'll get comfortable, they'll start talking politics, and I kind of, instead of coming combative with it, I try to just steer them in the direction that I feel is like, I don't want to say right because I don't know. I'm not a fucking,
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like I'm right, but I don't know. Maybe
everybody feels like they're right. That's
yeah, everyone feels like they're
yeah,
right. That's the thing. That's the bit, right?
yeah,
But I think you're supposed to agonize about it, and that's how you sort of know you're right. But
real.
nah, but
The
yeah,
conversations are important, man. Yeah,
that's it, right? Is that I think like a lot of this stems from lack of conversations, and it it radicalizes in either direction, which I've been guilty of. And in my head, I'm like, how the fuck could you not be on the same page, you dumb piece of shit, right? But
yeah,
then they're probably saying the exact same thing about me, and like, yeah, my convictions are like, nah, like I don't think it's right to do fascist shit, right?
I'm not gonna lie, man. In my effort to try to steer people in that direction, I just don't ask political questions to guys who I don't feel like are progressives. I'm much more
That's
apt to
fair.
ask somebody who I've gathered is progressive in their beliefs
Yes, sir.
these political questions and put them on a platform to talk about it a little bit than I am to ask somebody who I think might be like, yeah, I love Trump. Like,
Yeah,
I'd
right.
be like, okay, on to the next question real quick. Like, yeah,
Yeah, like I don't know if it's like an emotional maturity thing or something. I don't know. Because I feel like, I mean, if you're like a dumb little shithead high school kid, you're just like soaking up the opinions of your parents or something, right? And excuse me, more often than not, your parents got dog shit opinions. And then you get older and you like travel the world and shit, and you're like, oh, okay, yada yada yada. That's dumb. That's dumb. You keep what's relevant. You discard what's irrelevant. Yeah, my dad told me like half of Hollywood was like he would be like, yeah, no, he's gay, he's gay, he's gay. And like none of those people were gay, and it's just like, what was the point of any of that? Like, you know, who gives a fuck?
And even if they were, yeah.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
but you know, so it's just like there's just absolute bullshit that you get fed as a youth up till like adulthood. And I think, you know, part of life is discarding what's inaccurate. And that's never, it's not always a fun thing to do. And I think a lot of people who are resistant to it get really boggled in their fucking feelings. And so that turns into a political identity. And then I find it corny. Yeah. But, you know, like at the same token, someone could flip it on me and be like, yo, you're like angry all the time. And I'd be like,
yeah, it would be a lot easier to just like forget about all the people suffering in the world than fucking just like sit back and be the oppressor, I guess. Yeah,
a rich prick. Yeah, you know, it's like that Rick and Morty joke. It's like, can we just join the fascist half of the country? Like, they get to do more. This is just what I'm saying. No, it's not good though. Don't do that. But
no, dude, I agree with what you said about like people coming up and just listening to their parents or whatever. The whole right political spectrum, I've always looked at them, and out here in Alberta, there's a lot of people like that, and I'm just like, don't you guys think it's a little bit boring? Just kind of like believing the same shit your parents believed and fucking carrying on the same way that they did. Like, I don't know. Did you not fucking rebel as an adolescent? Like, what the fuck happened here?
Boring people don't find boring things boring though. So
true.
You know,
true. Yeah.
That's why it's always like, you know,
they're over there being blissful, man.
You got the sports jersey on, and then like the fucking Jeep and the fucking bleach blonde wife hair with the also jersey, and then the just like the Stanley Cup and the, I don't know, it's just like homogenized as fuck, cookie cutter as fuck. So I'm like, yeah, okay, you know, rock the boat committee. You're on a bad boat, you know, you're on a pirate ship, but whatever.
Man. I dabble in the hockey thing because I grew up in small town Alberta and I fucking played hockey. I'm a big dude. I was good at hockey, you know? So like this year I decided I'm not giving any money to that fucking league though, because they keep fucking up over and over and over. That league and all the players just keep fucking up with their messaging, and it's gross to me. So I still want to see Edmonton bring home the fucking cup, but you know, it's something that I also try to distance myself from with my dollars anyways. You know, I'll stream the game for free, I think, is about where I'm at.
Okay, yo, yeah, you know what? If it gives your spirit fire, fucking go ahead.
Exactly. I feel like it's something to be excited about, man. The life is bleak.
Exactly, right? Yeah. Life is bleak and you need shit to be excited about, you know? And like my little edgelord ass, whatever part of me like hasn't matured, is still like, I like hating sports because everyone loves sports. You know, like, yeah, that's tiresome too. But you know, I don't know.
No, I was like the nerd in a jock body, so I've kind of fucking dabble in both of those.
I hear that,
but I distance myself from the intellectual side of the whole sports thing. You know, I'm there to fucking watch it while it's happening, and that's about it. Playoffs are fun, but anyway,
it's a community of its own. I get it. I'm trying to be more like,
well, the community I don't fuck with. That's what I'm saying, is I don't fuck with the community. I sit in my house alone and like turn on the game online for free. And,
that's fair. Yeah.
You know, have a beer and watch that shit just because it's like, what the fuck else am I watching tonight? I'm turning that on, I guess. But
I'm gonna watch some KOTD, but I don't know if I'm gonna go to the events like that. No, just
I mean something along those lines, actually, man. Yeah, I can watch a KOTD battle, but anytime I show up in there, I'm like, why are there so many white people here? What's going on?
Everyone's real mad.
Yeah.
I keep getting elbowed every time I use the urinal.
Dude, so there's a segment. We're at 50 minutes right now. Are you cool with going a little bit over an hour here?
Oh, absolutely, bro. This time is just fine. I might just have to do a little refill, but otherwise I'm good to go.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, here, let me go handle that super duper quick. And
okay,
I'll be back in a flash.
Sounds good, man. Yeah.
Here, do you have any intermission music?
I'll do the be right back screen for people. It's a beautiful. It says Doobyis will be right back. Be back soon. It. Yeah, so we'll do that for now.
All right, 30 seconds tops.
Sounds good, man. No worries.
30 guy. I hate that guy.
Oh man, Myer Clarity's the fucking worst. No,
the fucking worst. That guy's such a piece of shit.
Yeah. I was just talking to Twitch chat there for a second while you were going.
Oh yeah, I'm not privy to the Twitch chat. What is it live? What are people saying?
No, no, it's always pretty sleepy over on Twitch chat, but I do appreciate when people come through. It's my best homies come through for these things. I send them the link beforehand and I'm like, come bump it up so that there's not zero fucking people watching, please.
Well, much love to everybody who's checking us out right now.
Hell yeah. A lot of them are artists and shit. Skizzo is in there. Fucking my homie D-Swax up in Edmonton. DJ Dice is in there right now. He does the mixes every week for At6. So yeah,
shout out to everybody.
It's the squad.
Squad.
But you know what, man? There's a segment called How Important Is that I kind of just rapid fire questions of people. You can be as brief or long-winded as you want to, and there's no standardized, 1 to 10 scale. Just answer however you want to. But how important is making music videos in 2024?
I still think it's important. It's cost prohibitive, but it's important because music fans discover you through music videos still more than other things. And it's just, if you want someone to discover you kind of thing, give them information, make it like a full package, right?
Yeah.
So have a video that pairs well with the single. And yeah, that's easier said than done, man. It's fucking exhausting to do a video for we're expected to do singles every month and shit like that, right? And
it's pricey too, man.
On average, your cheapest video is around 500. So even with bartering, which we're all doing, that's still rough, right?
Yeah.
So, easier said than done. You got to pick and choose. And then there's also I've tried and sometimes succeeded and sometimes failed at one location videos. So the one day I'll get my shit together video where I'm just in a box is but then we did in the same day we did Mood where I'm in the bathroom doing a fucking corny ass Joker thing or whatever. But it still looks cool. It just has a one location. I'm like, oh, that one turned out kind of nice though. Yeah. So I think they'll discourage you. They'll say don't do this or it's cost prohibitive or yada yada. There's always been two sides to the music industry. There's always been the creative side, and then there's always been the business pragmatic side. And I think, time and time again, you got to know when to trust your gut, because To Pimp a Butterfly would not sound like To Pimp a Butterfly if they front loaded the album and cut all the interludes like label heads would normally ask you to.
Yeah.
And, under Spotify convention, every song should be 2 minutes and so on and so forth. And so you kind of you lose a lot of the interest. And actually, this last thing I'll say before I ramble too much, the One Day I'll Get My Shit Together album is kind of the front loaded label version of it. I was like, here's everything you want. This is all the decisions. These are short singles. They're catchy. There's no skits.
Yeah.
That being said, I uploaded a full version on YouTube, which has an intro outro. That's a director's cut.
Nice.
So if you ever check that out,
check
that out, because I liked artsy fartsy shit.
And so does that actually have visual for the intro outro too? You're talking about, or you just uploaded the music to YouTube?
Goddamn billionaire! No,
you're the brokest billionaire, right?
I'm brokest fucking billionaire wearing the same shirts. Yeah. I don't remember where I got this shirt. This might be my dad's or someone else's dad from fucking Goodwill.
Yeah, I need more artists to give me their merch shirts or whatever, even sell me their merch shirts. I'm happy to buy people's merch, but doing these things every week, I fucking run out of shirts to wear, and I don't want to be in the same fucking shirt in every clip or whatever. I hear you on that, man.
I got you, bro. Yeah. Send me your Addy after this, and I'll send you a goodie package.
Hell yeah, man. I would appreciate that greatly. How important is getting grants for a Canadian artist?
It greases the wheels, man. It's if you can get in a grant rotation and you can work that into your weekly process or routine or whatever, you're going to be...
Explain this in layman's terms to me. I've never gotten a grant.
Sorry.
What the fuck is a grant rotation? Is that just the guys who get every grant that they apply for? I know a couple of those guys.
Type of thing. It's just more so there's so many grants, right? There's Factor, which is the most popular of the grants,
right?
And then each province has its individual grants that boil down to like municipal or provincial, and then there's like a couple other federal ones I think too.
Yeah.
So there's just always shit going on where it's like whether it's a tour grant, there's also SOCAN grants, for example. They have like touring grants, and they even have like houses you could stay in. So if you're good or aligned with people who are good at the grant system, yeah, definitely it's a valuable thing. Like King Just absolutely snaps with the grants. Fresh Kill snaps with the grants. Dio snaps with the grants. I'm just trying to get on their level.
I'll
I've
ask Jess
gotten
about it. I'm talking to him on June 22nd for Flying
Hey,
Forward.
that's
Yeah.
what's up. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's the truth, man. He's the truth. He's good peoples. Um, yeah, so like there's so many things that are available, and it really just it gives you leverage, right? Because basically everything in Canada moves slow motion. Like that's why like our economy in the arts is not populated enough to move at the speed that like United States artists can move at. Like you can sell out of town, like I don't know, there's just a lot more opportunity. So the grants are built to offset that, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, we're like we have a fraction of the population of the states, so that means significantly less people indoors. There's not even like we don't have enough hip hop fans in Canada, period.
Yeah. It means
And
a
then also,
6-hour drive between venues if you're on tour a lot of the time, right?
right? And then the other thing that we have that I don't really think the States has like that is fucking winter. 8
Yeah.
months of fucking winter, and you're just like, I'm not going to shows. I
Yeah.
don't care if you're my fucking brother, you're my fucking wife. I'm not going out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no,
Tough
no,
to sell
no,
out a
no.
show when it's -30 outside, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't try to normalize that because that's whack. But
It's the truth,
yeah,
though. Everybody fucking knows it's the truth. But
it's
yeah.
just yeah, or whether it's the truth or not, it's an extra thing that we have in addition to not enough people, in addition to sparseness, like the distance of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess the grants are built to offset that a little bit. And
For real.
if you can get your shit together in a proper rotation and try to get like one a month, which is fucking like that's expert level, but you'll be able to
God
break the
damn.
matrix and shit.
One a month. Okay. So a rotation, we're talking about like just steady. You get one and then you want to be applying for the next one and just keep that snowball rolling.
Ideally, because you're supposed to like your music career is supposed to be like an ecosystem where different things feed into different things, right? So for example, I have let's take hiatus as an example, right?
Yeah.
So if I did everything properly, I would have applied for a grant to record hiatus. And then while I was doing that, I would have tried to apply for a secondary grant to make the video for hiatus.
Which you probably need the finished studio version to even put in the application for, right?
Right, that's the whole point of me being my own engineer, is to set myself up for shit like that. And
Right.
even then it's still hard to do because you're the only person, and it's tough to be accountable to yourself, right?
Yeah, man.
Sometimes.
This is game, man. Thank you for sharing the game. This is why I ask artists these questions, and I hope other artists are paying attention and learning shit on these interviews too, or whatever. But
can I just add the cherry on top right quick?
Of course, yeah.
And then once that's done, do a third grant for like a tour or a showcase or something like that. And everything once again feeds into everything. So like there's different grants to cover different aspects of your career, to pay different members of your team, and the more refined that machine is, the more healthy your team is.
Beautiful, man. Yeah. Great answer, dude. This is a new one, but I thought it was interesting to ask. Well, because a new Drake reference track came out this week, and also because like you're somebody who kind of operates in the pop lane. But how important is it? I mean, operates half in the pop lane. I don't mean to make that sound like a bad thing or whatever, but like you definitely are somebody who can make pop music and probably work with many pop artists if you wanted to. So how important? Go ahead, man. Yeah, no, you sound like you had something.
No, like what people said before they called me pop.
What's that?
It was like he's an Eminem wannabe. So like I'll take pop. I'm happy with pop. That's cool.
I mean, I'm just saying
Let's stick
that
to pop.
mostly. I'm just saying that because I read
No,
your
I'm fooling around.
Spotify bio and it was talking about it. So,
No,
you know,
yeah, I'm fooling around.
if that's the way you want to be branded, that's the way I'm gonna brand it. But I look at you like an MC, dude.
No, respect,
You
yeah.
definitely got MC chops as well. So,
Thank you.
but how important is it that an artist writes their own bars?
It's like, what's the word? I guess like I'm Mr. Analogy with this shit, right? So it's more impressive. And so when you're discovering an artist kind of thing,
Yeah,
and then you start doing some digging into them, you get like infatuated. You're like, oh, they have a cool life, they did this, they did that. So if there's things that turn people off, right? You're like, oh, they almost got canceled, or oh, they have ghostwriters. There's little things like that where it's like, you're like, oh, okay, and you can look past it if you want. But if ever confronted with someone who's like really like a fucking auteur kind of thing, or just like the truth,
yeah,
then it's kind of just like you see all the problems with it. It's like there's finally enough light in the room to be like, oh, actually, that's a crack right there, and that's not done properly. And
right.
you see the shoddy workmanship, I suppose. But
The contrast reveals a lot. Yeah,
then again, there's also something to be said for like everyone playing to their strengths, I guess. So like, I am not really entrepreneurial minded. I've had to develop that part of me, right? But in a perfect world, I could just delegate all of that to like a manager or a booking agent, and I'd want everyone who's good at what they do focusing on what they do,
yeah.
so that we can all do our thing. And I guess you could argue that that could expand to ghostwriting, right? And then there's also been like situations where it's like where's the line for me as an engineer to like, oh, say this line like that, and that's going to sound better. And then now I'm technically ghostwriting, but does that artist deserve less credit? Like, think about it that way. Like, how many times has Dre ghostwritten for Eminem, who everyone's always like, that's the best rapper?
Yeah.
Like, so engineers play a part in that too, technically. So I think my answer is that fucking nothing is anything. But no, the more work you put in, the more people will recognize, I guess. And just play to your strengths, and the
Oh
more
yeah.
strengths you have,
Yeah, man,
cooler
that's a
it'll
good
be.
answer. A lot of these questions are just strictly opinion based, and I'm asking them specifically because I know that different guys will be on different sides of it, give me different sides of the answers. So, uh,
Yeah, I got liberal ass opinions with this shit. There's so many people that don't even fucking do backing tracks, and I'm like, yeah, well, I've been doing this for a while. My breath controlling what it is, and can't keep a hype man. So backing tracks it is.
oh shit, like as far as performing with backing vocals, you're up there with your entire backing track behind yourself.
Well, not the whole thing, but like it's you put the hook down to 20% so that it's fuller, and then you include any lines for like backups, but not like the full thing. And if you need anything punched in, that could work too.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, it
I
seems
did.
like popular consensus. Sorry to cut you off, but popular
No, you good?
consensus when I ask people how important is a live show, a lot of the people are like, it's really important, and don't be up there rapping over your own fucking vocals. But then they'll
Yeah,
often add the caveat like, unless it's a hook or an ad lib that you need in there or this or that. So it
that's
seems
why I'm
like
like I'm
people
I'm
will
not
make
drawing the
some
line in this.
exceptions. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not gonna draw the line in the sand there. Also, I've just seen it done really well. Like Lupe Fiasco was rapping over like some backtracks. Like he was still primarily live for the verses. But he did that shit at Oshiega in 2011, and it was fucking fire. And I was like, oh, okay, it could be done well, because he still had like a full band and singers and this and that.
sure.
So it just rounded it out. But yeah, one other thing I just want to say is that is technically like what I was talking about earlier, as like oh, you lose interest, where it's like, oh, he raps over his backing vocals. That's a dick softener. That's
Right.
a.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, there's one right there that I gotta work on, kind of thing.
For real. I mean, and I have seen it done. I will say that I have seen it done to a good degree where you can hear the guy's actual vocals on the mic and tell, okay, he's he could be doing this without the backing track on there. Maybe he just didn't have
Yeah.
access to the studio to make the backing, like the stage track or whatever. There's there's ways to do it where if the sound man's on point, he can still get your mic vocals up high enough that it sounds like you're up there just performing, and people can still appreciate that a lot.
You guys have a sound man?
Yeah, there's sound men out here, yeah, man.
No.
For real.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's part of like the magic tricks I like to bring out during shows, right? Where it's like, like the freestyle obstacle course, for example, or like the maybe like the piano and rapping over it. Where it's just like, oh yeah, I can though, but I'm lazy. It's like no effects doing the 60% thing. You're like, yeah, I know y'all are better musicians than this, but whatever.
how musically trained are you? Like you can play a piano while you're rapping to it, and
Yeah, it's not the best, but if I work on it, I can do it better. I can play a piano.
do you play other instruments? You play guitar and shit?
I can stumble through guitar. Like I was learning guitar, and then I kind of just got, I waver all over the place. So yeah, I could play a little git.
Did you come
a lot
out
of piano for composition?
out of like a rock background? Have you been in bands and shit back in the day?
I was always a rapper actually, but I was in a rap rock band once upon a time, and that was interesting.
That's fun.
And then yeah, like all my friends growing up were like punk rockers kind of thing. So like, I don't know, I just ended up falling in with that crowd, and then but I was always
that
like
was
the
my
odd
crowd
rapper
too,
out.
man. I've rapped over a lot of just like jam bands or whatever. That's fun as fuck. I still enjoy that. Yeah,
exactly.
Um,
And the punk's like old school hip hop, so it kind of worked out.
Yeah, punk and hip hop have a lot of crossover, just with the do-it-yourself mentality and the kind of anti-authority mentality. There's a lot of crossover. I've even jumped up with a DJ and been the only rap act at a punk rock show where there's 3 other punk rock bands playing, and at first people are like, "What the fuck is going on here?" But then if you're delivering the lyrics well and they can resonate with the people, it still works. It can go
real talk,
go well. Yeah,
that's
man.
how I got the Yellow Wolf show.
Nice, man. Yeah,
did a rock show I had no business being at, and the promoter was like, "Hey, you're that rapper guy," and then he started hosting rap shows, and then he was like, "Oh, yeah." Anyways, yeah,
beautiful
respect.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
You never know who's in the crowd, man. That's another important thing with being on stage. You always got to be impressive because you never know who's watching. How important is working with one producer to develop a sound?
Shit, I don't know. It works for some, not for others. Depends on the producer, depends on the artist. We would have never gotten Illmatic that way, but
for you as a guy who produces your own shit, do you ever think about I don't know what the differences would be if you were somebody who was rapping over a bunch of different beats from different producers?
I've thought about like I want to do an album that's all entirely other people's production.
Yeah.
Because other people's beats kind of excite me more. I don't know. Mine just, there's something about the pocket for mine that just don't fit what I'm trying to do a lot of the time. But then also to do a little sneak peek / teaser, I am actually working with Fresh Kills on a full length project.
Nice.
And we got about 12 plus tracks in the can, and it's all his beats, all my raps. Beautiful. So we're both kind of just leaning into like what we do best, and it ain't no singing shit. It's all gonna be rapidy rap. So that MC clarity that y'all fucked with once upon a time, he's back.
Good man. Looking forward to hearing that. Any 12 tracks already in the can? That sounds like it's got to be nearing completion. How long are you guys trying to make that project?
We started this shit basically in 2021, I think. Actually, he might have even sent me some beats before then. But yeah, it's been on the back burner basically as long as this other album. And it's kind of like the polar opposite of it, where this is like a very polished pop album. Then all of a sudden we're doing like boom bap, hip hop, like the shit, we actually fuck with kind of thing. Not that I don't fuck with my pop stuff. It's just I can't, it's like you eat your vegetables and then you get to the fun part of the meal,
right.
or dessert or whatever. So yeah, that's one that's super exciting.
What do you find yourself listening to more often, man? Do you listening to more like kind of melodic rap, or Are you more into like boom bap MC and rappity rap?
I go through phases. So like it like there's yeah, I'll go through all kinds of phases
Yeah.
where like right now that new Eminem song drop, right? And like shit, I'm that target demographic. I was an angsty white boy, so of
Yeah.
course I'm gonna bump that,
I like the sounds of that one a lot more than I've liked anything he's dropped for like 15 years, man. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
I
man.
can feel
I'm
this. This
hyped.
takes me back to high school. All right. I'll see what it has for the
Exactly.
rest of it. Yeah.
He did the thing. He did the thing.
For real, man. Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah, but it's like super immature though. But whatever, I'll bump it for now. But then like yeah, so I'll have like a week where I'll listen to like a lot of and then I'll be like, okay, so like let's listen to some more mature music, and then I'll offset it and be like, all right, we're only listening to late cunning linguists now. Or then I'll pivot back and be like, all right, I just want to listen to like the early Talib Kweli kind of vibes, or I want to go back and revisit a bunch of Common albums, or I want to listen to the super obscure like Common Unity Montreal rapper shit that like motherfuckers don't be knowing about. But shout out to Common Unity, they're formative.
How about Canadian dudes? You ever listen to Canadian artists? This is something I've been asking Canadian artists, trying to figure out like why is it so fucking difficult for me to get anybody to listen to After the Smoke is Clear? I don't know whether like billing it as a Canadian hip hop show that plays 95% Canadian hip hop is like scaring every single person on earth away from it, or what.
Yeah, I think like I don't know, people probably run away from Canadian hip hop, I guess. Like I'm trying to think about like
It's a shame, man.
it's bullshit. I'm trying to think of approaching normies and be like, hey, you guys want to come to a Canadian hip hop show? They're gonna, especially in Toronto, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like the marketing side of me feels like I have to fool people, which is a shame because what the fuck,
Yeah.
Hey, we got a dope and vibrant hip hop scene. And to answer your question, once again, Chaos is super duper formative. I've been listening to that motherfucker from the jump.
Right.
Even a lot of like early Chaos too. Classified was a major inspiration.
Hell yeah.
He's the reason I'm a producer, part of the reason. Especially that track Beating It, like Hitchhiking Music when that came out. I was right at the prime age of like, oh shit, yeah. So Hard to Be Hip Hop was a fucking jam.
Yeah.
And then there was like a lot of local cats too. So like Common Unity, you had the Northern Lights 5, you had fucking D Shade from Shades of Culture.
Those are
There's
names
so
I don't
many
know, man. Those last three, are those Montreal based crews?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll have to
All
tap in.
Montreal crews. We
Yeah.
had yeah, I'm just gonna let me rat. We have fucking Velvet Trench Vibes who go by Cannonhead now. Island City Monsters. We had fucking 1180. We had fucking I'm forgetting a whole mess of people, like the Narcissist, for example.
Yeah.
Narcissist, like
Bro, no,
Narcissist having a
those are
moment
all
right
new
now.
names for me. I always go
Oh,
back through these interviews and, make sure I'm tapped in, following people. Are these
yeah,
guys
they're
still
low.
making music, or are we talking about like older crews that are kind of defunct now?
It's a mixed bag. So like Narcissist right now is having a whole bunch of moments. I think he was just on the People's Party with Talib Kweli
Okay, nice.
as a guest. So like yeah, shout out to Narcy. He's doing big things.
So
Low Pesci is still active.
that's a name
He's
I recognize.
so
For me, out in Montreal, like Mike Shab and Mackie Lavender and I don't know, some of those guys, Nicholas Craven or whatever, are some of the only names that I
yeah, I
can
don't know
really.
those cats.
Oh, okay, yeah, they're doing things these days from Montreal, anyways.
Oh,
Definitely.
it's new wave, eh?
Yeah, newer,
Okay,
anyways. I mean, I don't know how long they've
okay.
been around, but
I got to touch back then, and
yeah,
then
man.
yeah.
Anyways, let's go on with these how important questions. I got a few more to ask you.
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
No, all good, man. This is I'm here for it. This is great conversation, so I'm having
Let's
fun
fucking
talking.
go. I appreciate you, sir.
How important is opening when big name rappers come through town?
If it's under 5 openers, well, actually under 4 openers, it'll be a better look. If you're earlier in your career, look that it's sorry, I'm trying to gather my thoughts here.
All good,
So
man.
there's a lot of pay to play. There's a lot of like pay to play predatory shit out there.
Yeah,
And
where it's
you
you got
know,
to sell 50 tickets, and if you don't, you owe me $500 anyways, or whatever. Yeah,
type of dealio, right? And like Yeah, man. Like I try to actively avoid those, but I can't avoid them all the time. And sometimes I owe some of the better shows of my career to them, you know? And so that's like a mixed bag where I gotta like stomach some of the unsexiness that comes with that while maintaining the like childlike reverence of like, hey, we're doing this now.
Yeah.
So you know, that's an example. But it's a good way to pad your resume, and that's a good way to make your fee go up.
Yeah.
And
Good way to land some grants, saying I've opened for this person and that person. Probably
type of thing,
can
right?
help
So
anyway, you
just
know. Yeah.
don't make it the whole focus of your thing. It's like you know, like before you could advertise on IG, you did a pay to play show.
Right.
So it's like one of those where you're like, it's money down a pit, but you might gain some traction down the line. And, you know, then I've had like polar opposite shows where it's like they paid me to open for the act and it was like a big act. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is how it should be.
Yeah.
So I want, you know,
Shouts to those promoters. That's the type of
shouts to
promoters
those
everybody
promoters.
likes. Yeah.
Like I get a writer and my own green room and some
Whoa.
water.
Yeah. Damn.
Whoa. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Sounds like a good gig, man. How important is an artist's physical location?
oh man, very stupidly actually. Yeah, it's
You mean you don't think I'm gonna blow up from Lethbridge? Come on. Shit. No, I'm just
man, I
joking.
really like I will make the case that I feel like if you move to Hollywood, LA kind of thing, you're in it way more. And so your chances of getting lightning in a bottle are higher because it's always thunderstorming over there.
Yeah.
And that's why I moved to Toronto. And like there's a bunch of stuff. Like I wouldn't have gotten a grant if I didn't move to Toronto because in Quebec you only get grants if you're a francophone artist. So that immediately wipes out every English rapper.
Right.
Um which bullshit. But yeah, anyways, there's that. There's
The grant
like I
system
learned a
has
lot
a
of
bunch of fuckery like that, I feel like, man. You gotta jump through some specific hoops to get these grants, I feel like. But yeah,
for
it
real.
is
And
what
there's
it
always
is.
gonna be some shit where you're like, why do you care how much TikTok fucking followers I have? Like TikTok is new and
Yeah.
it'll be gone, you know. Like you were asking me how many Twitter followers I have, and now no one gives a shit about Twitter. So shut the fuck up. Like
For real.
you know?
Yeah.
Uh
Dude.
but yeah. So
Um
yeah.
oh, if
I'm
you
sorry,
had more to say about it, go ahead, man.
what was the question again? It
About
was
location, about the how
location.
important is location?
Yeah, man. Like I've literally like seen people that I was on the same level as move to Tinseltown and they be doing big shit, really big shit. They be like dating and marrying famous motherfuckers. And I'm just like, oh, like it like that. Like you just oh, okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Shit.
Suddenly one of them's a Kardashian or something. Yeah.
Like I wouldn't be surprised.
No, man. Shouts to those guys. All the power to them
Yeah.
for making that
All
move.
power to
That's
them.
a
No,
big jump to jump out to someplace you're not from.
yeah, they live in their best life and I want to salute them.
Hell yeah. How important is fashion for an MC or just artist in general?
Definitely helps. Because otherwise you go to a rap show and we're all in hoodies and baseball caps, right?
Yeah.
So like if you want to distinguish yourself, it'll help. But then if you distinguish yourself too much, it can be alienating. But
So
man, even if like just figure out your style in general, man. You know, you feel confident in your own skin.
yeah.
You know, like I don't know. I mean, I like oscillate, right? I got like different phases. It's the same with music. Like sometimes I'll like right now I'm wearing like a caddy hat kind of thing, and I haven't busted this motherfucker out in a decade because I never felt like wearing it. But this week I'm like, nah, I'm opening for chaos. I'm wearing some weird shit. I want to look like a fucking
Look the part, man.
lost beetle.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to break out a cardigan or something. Yeah.
Type of thing. And like prior to that, I was a motherfucker with like the green mohawk for like half of my career. And so that was a thing that set me apart too. It was alienating though, but then again, like I kind of evened it out when I could have doubled down and done like a Takashi 6ix9ine or some shit or
Right.
like
Yeah, well, and
but yeah,
sometimes alienating half of the people means the other half fuck with you more, right? So
you got to pick your battles, right? And decide what's you and what's
Definitely,
Like, are you
man.
just feeding reaction, or is this like what you actually want to do?
Yeah, man. This is a new one that I've only asked. I asked Roshan last week, but
Heck yeah.
a new
Shout
one
out to
on the list
Roshan.
of how important. So, how important is finding or having the right romantic partner for an artist?
Oh man, you can kill yourself if it doesn't go the right way. Um, I've seen that. I've heard that. Motherfuckers get killed. You know, Sid Nancy or some shit. Um,
Artists are passionate motherfuckers, man. Yeah,
yeah, I mean that's just in general. You want a partner you can trust, ride with, and if you have someone that's gonna like either shit on your blessing or a partnership is meant to uplift the other, right?
yeah,
So if that isn't what is happening, or you are not getting that part of you uplifted, then that's problematic. um
real.
and I've been in relationships that like didn't really nurture this. Like right now, I'm fortunate because I live with my girl Emma. I don't know if she's still in the room or not, but
I don't see her back there, but maybe.
okay, she's just chilling. But yeah, that's like this is the healthiest partnership I've ever been in. We've been going 5 years strong.
Beautiful.
Gonna be 6 years next January, and yeah, she nurtures this, versus like I've had relationships where like things get put on the back burner, or you just put parts of yourself away, and you prioritize other things, and then next thing you know, like, oh, what the fuck? I'm 50 and I don't have an album out. No, I hate my wife. And da 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 da. Like, who wants that? That
Yeah,
could end your music career.
bro. I was once
So
told, "What am I gonna be married to a washed up weed rapper?" I was just like, okay, I guess it is what it
washed
is.
up weed rapper.
Yeah, I was like, oof, cut me deep, why don't you? Shit.
God damn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
someone told me I was nothing but a little Peep wannabe. I was like, "Bitch."
Yeah, yeah. The better you
uh,
know somebody, the better you know how to hurt
that's
them.
deep. Yeah.
That's for sure, man. Dude, how
I
important is
would,
pressing vinyl, bro? Is vinyl still important in 2024?
yeah, I would. I've never pressed vinyl, so this is hypocritical of me, but here's what I've learned about vinyl. Um, it is kind of like the stamp of how I do this shit, right? And the mix has to be done like perfectly for it to sound good on vinyl. And so in this digital age we're all in, where like the corners are getting cut and people give a fuck less and less and less and less and less. Um, Once it goes to vinyl, if it doesn't sound right, all of that gets exposed, right? So I feel like vinyl is a good bar to have. Like you should set the bar so that your shit sounds dope on vinyl, and that should be a and it's not currently.
Which is
And
like a
I'm just sort of
mix issue, right? I've talked to engineers,
yeah,
homie Deeswax actually, who was in chat, told me one time you got to mix things specifically if you're going to send them to vinyl.
exactly. Yeah, there's like a certain, and I don't know enough about it. I just know, like, I've heard through hearsay and other homies being like, "Oh, I don't like how this snare sounded on the vinyl. I should have done this," you know. So like, yeah, like I'm just sort of learning that as like I don't even know if my music's gonna hold up on vinyl. Depends which album, depends who mixed it, but I feel like that's
Interesting.
a pretty good. Like we don't really have like quality standards anymore, or
Yeah.
maybe this is just my old man yelling at a cloud kind of like thing, but I feel like there used to be like at least some kind of standards that you're not supposed to dip below,
Yep.
and I feel like we've been dipping
Bro,
way below.
I've been working with like a guy who's like in his early 20s or whatever, and like he wanted to just record his shit on his phone because the fucking app had an auto tune setting that he liked for his singing, and I was like, all right, man, I don't know what to tell you.
Like,
Like, it's sure.
go ahead, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is what it
you know.
is. Yeah, but I
And the
mean,
craziest thing is that like he might still make that a hit song,
exactly. That was what I was
but
just gonna say. As people listening to it, they don't know what the fuck you used to record it on, and unless you got that engineer ear, I don't know if anyone can fucking tell or not. I don't know. I think quality
yep,
matters to a degree, but engineers really take that shit real seriously, as though it's gonna make or break stuff, and I don't know if it is. It's
real
tough.
talk.
Yeah,
I think it's like one of those like going back to the real recognize real thing, and like the more in a craft you are, the more you can appreciate the work that goes into it,
yeah,
kind of thing. But like, yeah, I got I got some records that like I put out where I'm like, oh, we're not mixing this at all. This is the 2-track. I don't give a fuck. And Big Plans is one of those, for example. So if it sounds distorted, it's because I was lazy.
Leave it raw, man. I mean, sometimes that's the way people want to hear it. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
needed a single, you know. Yeah, that's
yeah,
another one that's not on the album. Yeah.
yeah.
Whole bunch
Same
of
reason it just didn't get time to get sent in with it or whatever.
that one I just for me, I'm like, oh, the mix ain't there. So like this is too
Okay.
trash to put on the album kind of thing.
So it's kind of a
Um,
bonus cut or whatever. That's a beauty of the internet age is we can just
exactly.
put out bonus cuts kind of and take it or leave it,
True.
people. Yeah.
I do think you need to like wrap something in a project for closure's sake, because even right now, I'm like losing certain Lucy's that I like from artists. I'm like, oh, yo, do a compilation, man. I'm losing all. I didn't remember this one. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
That's another thing that I like about like doing the After the Smoke is Clear mixes every week is a lot of the time I'm playing, you know, fucking 15 out of the 18 tracks are just
Yeah.
singles. And otherwise they would just get lost in the mix. But if I put them into an hour long playlist of other songs that sound, appropriate beside them or whatever, you can take it to the gym and vibe with it for an hour or whatever. And it feels a little bit more like a project
And
for
that's why I appreciate what you do, man, because that's like, that takes time. And, people don't really recognize that other people's time has been invested in what we do.
Hell yes, man. Yeah. I mean, when my parents ask me what I do and I'm like, well, I make an hour long mix, they think it takes me an hour. But like this fucking week, I got to go through 6.5 hours worth of new release shit that like a lot of it is, I'm listening to a minute of it and I'm like, nope, this one's not making the cut onto the next
Scrap,
one. Yeah. Yeah.
scrap.
But I'm
Yeah.
still listening to it. I still fucking took it and put it on a playlist because it caught my eye or whatever. But
A
yeah,
minute is longer than most, man. Submit Hub don't be giving you a minute like that.
fair, man. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, so this is one that I only, like I said earlier, ask to people who I think have kind of a more progressive lean. But how important is an MC's political lean?
Oh man, I don't think it's spoken enough. I think that I think it can like, guess what's the word I'm trying to say? Like, not make or break, but like there's a certain part of like it's hip hop culture. And if you have a political stance that directly is opposed to hip hop culture, which an extension is Black American culture, and you
Yeah,
have like a political view that is like fundamentally just trying to oppress people, yeah, that's not gonna fly well in hip hop. And you still have your like subsets of Tom McDonald's and stuff, and there's enough echo chambers out there where like, yeah, you can make dog shit rap and it'll take off. But if you want any like respect from actual heads,
from the culture. Yeah,
yeah, man, like Chuck Creekmer is not gonna fucking listen to that. Like he's not gonna give a shit. Um, and it's a constant learning thing because like, yeah, man, I don't know everything. I'm just, you know, fuck, half of the days I wake up, I'm like, am I a fucking culture vulture? Like, what the hell is going on?
yeah.
And
Dude,
I'm
that's
like,
something
yo,
that as white guys in hip hop, we got to constantly be aware of. We've got to constantly be asking ourselves that.
yeah,
Um,
facts, man. Because
yeah,
this is the thing that we all love and we're supposed to nurture it, right? And like a child, you don't want to damage it and like, do something that'll have like a lasting negative impact, right?
exactly. Yeah.
You know,
Um,
that's
hell yeah, man.
that's where I stand.
Another question that I sometimes ask people is, do they think that hip hop has a political lean to it, like has an inherent political lean to one side or the other? And
I
it's
don't
a
know if I'm
tricky one to answer, right? Because
qualified to answer that, but
yeah,
I think the thing that I'll say is that like I find it interesting that if you're gonna generalize, I think we're very like left leaning, except for guns,
yeah,
and then it's
and
all like,
capitalism maybe, right?
I and
Yeah,
then yeah, parts of capitalism too. Like it's weird. Like where does hustle culture end and capitalism begin?
right.
And, is it hustling to like better life standards, or is it hustling for love of money, which is not a noble pursuit?
Yeah,
Yeah, like are we getting out of the hood, or are we trying to keep people in a hood and be dirtbag landlords and like
right.
like
And
yeah.
benefits
So
off of their fucking misery. Yeah, Yeah.
And yeah, it's such a multifaceted genre with so many different people, all in different, aspects. I thought Kanye West was on some cool shit, and then like the later in his life, he's just like polar opposite, hanging out with Nazis. And you're like, you listen to College Dropout, I feel like they would get in a beef.
Yeah. I agree,
Young
man.
Kanye and
That
old
dude
Kanye.
did a very swift 180 from, where I thought that he was at, but yeah,
Yeah.
he's an interesting case study if nothing else, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, I think like fame, that level of it will isolate you. And then if you're isolated to that degree, probably don't know shit for shit. And you should get on the internet or something. I don't know.
That's kind of what I was asking about. Like, would you become the bad guy if you became a billionaire? Because, like, I feel like at a certain point, you just end up hiding in a castle somewhere with all your fucking money and just become completely detached, right? Like,
Yeah, like I feel like that's an inherent like trajectory or something, right? Where it's like, look, the more you have, the more you're going to be on the defensive, right? And the
yeah,
more you're going to be worried about people taking from you. And then that's going to warp your belief in people. And then that's going to make you a more paranoid, ruthless, shitty person,
hell yeah,
who's just
man.
like, well, it's better to fuck you than you fuck me,
Right.
kind of thing, right? And
A neck
versus
cutting
like,
contest, man. That's,
right, versus when you're like broke as fuck with like, you're broke as fuck friends and you all pool in together to get a pizza for the crew. That's a different kind of experience. Or you know and that's like the pay it forward thing that we're all kind of like biologically hardwired to do, because they say like before capitalism there was bartering, right? But that relied on the double coincidence where it's like, oh, I need this and you need that, which that's not how life works. It
yeah,
was always a pay it forward. It was always a, hey, I got us on this, and then tomorrow you hook us up with the pelts or whatever the fuck.
yeah.
Um,
And everybody
that,
gets their needs met. Yeah.
yeah, right. And shit like that is like why I always fucking tip when I am not in a financial position to be tipping like that. And like,
Yeah, I'm tipping off my Visa off of my thousands and thousands of dollars of debt. Here,
I
have a
tried to
tip.
I
Yeah.
tried to tip my doctor last year. I was just like, yo, you're the most attentive medical specialist I have ever had. You actually listen and you don't hush me. Can I give you like $20 for a coffee? I don't have money like that. And he's like, no.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was wild, but I think it's just because I'm a broke ass musician and I'm trying to rationalize it and pay it forward to the point where someone's gonna come along and be like, hey, broke ass motherfucker Myer Clarity, I'm gonna put
We've
hundred
seen what
thousand
you've been
dollars.
doing, and I'm here
Yeah,
to embody karma and pay you back. Yeah.
yeah, it's just as delusional as Christianity, but at least
It might lead to a better world, though.
yeah, at least I
Yeah.
pay taxes.
Yeah, there you go, man.
Oh man,
Dude,
I don't know.
so I
Yeah.
like to ask people who have a lot of experiences for some tips on things. So, can I ask you for a tip for an engineer working with MCs?
Yeah, a tip shit, I don't know. I mean, have a signal chain that you save as a preset so that you can make your workflow faster, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I have a pre-sauce signal chain where it's like, all right, let me give you the treatment. I got like, there's a compressor, then there's the CLA for the vocals, and then I put a little wetness on there. And then before all that, there's a EQ that's rolled off around 40, and then boost it up any place after 20. No,
Shit, you're giving the full recipe for the secret sauce here. I'm taking
well,
notes, man. Yeah.
I'm not even really like, I don't know how accurate this is because I tweak to taste,
Of
right?
course, yeah.
But the secret I learned in kitchens was everyone just likes salt and butter. So compression and reverb, man, go ahead.
Yeah.
And then boost the highs. But yeah, the other thing is just like patience, obviously. Um, I guess like another thing that maybe I'll say is that like the studio is kind of like a therapist's office a little bit.
Yeah, a
And it's
lot of the
kind of like
people I talk to say they make music for therapy. They're working a side job. They just do this shit because they feel like
exactly,
they need to express themselves. Yeah.
that's facts. And then you get into like philosophical conversations with your engineer, and it's like a safe space to just talk, right? And it's literally like padded walls and everything.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's like the poor man's therapy in a way. I've had moments where I've become like a counselor to people, and it's just ironic because I've been in therapy my entire life, and now I'm like, yo, motherfuckers really overcharged for this shit, eh? Like, I'm 60 an hour. You need to relax. Like,
Yeah.
and you leave with a song. Like, I don't get a song when I leave the therapist's office. The fuck is you doing? No, I'm just being outlandish. But
No, that makes a lot of sense, dude. I worked at an SCS where I was running a music program, recording music with people, just as a way to build that rapport, so that
that's what's
when
up. Right
they
on.
want to get into treatment or whatever, they had somebody they trust enough to fucking say that to or whatever. And I can definitely attest to what you just said, that sometimes you talk to your engineer like a therapist,
Yeah,
and
facts.
even just the act of sitting writing music is a good way to fucking make somebody be a little introspective, think about what the fuck do I want to put out into the world? What am I actually trying to say here?
Yeah,
Um,
man.
yeah.
It's
So
it's time away from it all in a enclosed space where you can just like write about your life. Like, what's more therapeutic than that?
hell
You know?
yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah,
Yeah.
man. Um, I did want to ask you about this because the original time that I saw you, you were talking about sobriety. Do you have any tips for someone trying to maintain sobriety?
Oh, don't take that from me. I'm drinking. No.
But you did for a while, maintain
Yeah.
sobriety, right?
So I guess the tips and tricks for that, the thing I'll tell anyone, the thing that worked for me was I paired quitting with like an upswing in going to the gym. I even got myself a trainer.
Mm,
So that accountability plus the momentum of like dropping the weight kind of, like you start to shed alcohol weight because alcohol bloats you, right? So in the first 2 weeks, if you pair that with going to the gym, you'll get addicted to the progress in a way that's like, oh, I'm like a superhero.
yeah.
Um, there's also the other thing where like alcohol on average reduces your IQ up to 14 points, and it can take about 2 weeks for that to stop. So once again, at the 2 week mark, you'll start to feel yourself thinking a little more lucidly. Um, so it's just stuff like that. I didn't really do AA that much. I went to one AA meeting and then I didn't go back, and that's why I'm where I'm at. But
I have mixed
you
feelings
know,
about AA. AA is weirdly tied to religion, in my opinion. I think,
yeah, like
yeah,
that part's corny. Like I think group therapy would be better than like a AA kind of thing, I guess.
yeah, but it
Um
is still better probably than nothing, I guess. I don't know. It just, especially because like I was working with a lot of, First Nations people, and they have not been done well by Christianity over the
oh hell
years,
no, yeah.
So
You would not want to hear that.
it was weird to go in and like hear stories from people who just didn't like AA. Well, I mean, it wasn't weird. It was, I got it, but
Yeah,
I heard
exactly.
stories from people who were just like, nah, I can't fuck with that because of Christianity or whatever. They want to try to force us into that shit again. And it
Yeah,
was like, yeah, I feel that. That makes
that
sense.
would be a huge turnoff if like I went to a meeting and there's just like a swastika hanging there. I'm just like,
Yeah,
oh, what's up with the swastika? And they're like, oh well, like
it's the best way to
Nazis
stay
really
sober. Yeah,
Nazis really believed in austerity, and and you're just like,
yeah,
uh, can we just? So did the Buddhists. Can we
yeah.
just go with them instead? Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
for real, man.
Yeah,
But at the same time, it's oftentimes like one of the only support options that people have. So maybe whatever works for individuals. But
we live in a circle of hell. So unfortunately, the ladders are all going to have fluids on them.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
man,
yeah, if you get what I mean by the analogy.
for real. So you kind of touched on it there, talking about sobriety, but this was another new question for the how important, and then we're gonna wrap this up. But
Mhm.
how important is physical fitness for an artist?
I think it helps a lot. I'm not physically fit right now, but I think if you like treat your body right and you dedicate the right amount of time uh, to physical fitness regimens, I think that in addition to increased lung capacity and like breath control,
Yeah,
there's also like a boost you get in confidence, which is going to allow you to network a little more efficiently. And a good fucking 80% of this rap game is networking. So the more comfortable you feel in your own skin, the more comfortable everyone else around you is also going to feel. And I think I was at my most comfortable when I was like, actually doing the work and working out and treating myself right.
Yeah, man, that
And
makes
yeah,
sense
so yeah, so it helps in that regard.
for real.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
good enough answer. I like that. That's a good little sound clip or whatever.
hell yeah,
Those how important questions, I like to ask a lot of the same questions to different people just so that then I can make like a montage of different people's opinions about the same shit.
right on.
So yeah,
Makes
just
sense. Yeah,
just wanted to actually ask that in summary. But dude, I appreciate you spending this much time talking to me. I've had fun talking with you.
oh, absolutely, man. Thank you
Bef-
so much for having me.
Before I let you take off, there's a couple last questions I ask everybody. Can you describe the local scene? Can you describe the Toronto hip hop scene?
The Toronto hip hop scene is like when you got the Hubble telescope and you just discover a new solar system, and then like 3 months later, you're like, "That's it. That we discovered the universe," and then you find a new one even further, and then just that forever. Because just when I think I've like met everyone in the scene, there's a new other scene that I haven't even interacted with, and then there's
Yeah,
another other scene, and then there's another other scene because there's just so many boroughs,
yep.
and
That's been my
we
experience tapping into it little by little too. Yeah.
yeah, and we struggle with like uniting here. I feel like the tenant strike is like mad late to the game and it's happening, but even people like don't understand what the fuck is going on with that. And so like we struggle with unity in the city, I find. But maybe that's just my own personal bias because I feel like we should all be mad as hell. This shit is ridiculous. 2,500 for a 1 bedroom and the subway doesn't get you where you're going ever. Fuck that.
God
But yeah,
damn. Yeah.
yeah.
Word, man. Can you name some other artists from the scene people should be up on?
Absolutely. Let's see. Let's check it out. So definitely Fresh Kills, absolutely. King Just. Skeevious Tips if you haven't checked my man's out. Myer Clarity, of course. We got fucking Ultra Magnus. We
Yeah.
got fucking there's so many people. I'm just like having anxiety trying to name everyone right now. God
I'll help you
damn.
out. The
So yeah,
Mighty Rhino. I know Mighty Rhino was in recording with you recently. That dude's dope as fuck, right?
Mighty Rhino is the legend. Charlie Noir. Check him out. Fucking I mean, shit. Is Party Next Door still underground? No, they're famous now. Okay.
They don't
Or
need the
was
help. Yeah.
Stay Out Late? Shit. We had fucking Once Upon a Time. Ill Vibe was rapping. Fucking so many motherfuckers. You gotta check out Icy the One. She's dropping all kinds of incredible shit. DJ SB, they're super nice with it. Fucking Hawaii Mighty, if you haven't checked her out.
Yeah.
Damn, like there's so many people like, you know, fucking Raz
That's,
Fresco, Shad, obviously, although Shad is London, but no, he lives in Toronto now. So Shad,
yep.
Chaos, I guess, is around town. Like, yo, the list goes on and on. It's prolific, like, you know, Cardinal, Socrates, fucking, I mean, that's like old head shit. Not old head shit, but that's established shit.
Yeah. Legends already. Yeah.
Yeah. Like D.O. Gibson, like Art of Fresh. I don't know if Arabesque is still doing stuff, G Stokes. Um, Man, there's too many motherfuckers. Fucking
That's a lot off the top of the head, man.
DJ
Yeah.
Slam was doing shit. Yeah, man. There's too many people.
Yeah.
Like Crossword, I don't want to forget anybody, but shouts to everybody.
It's impossible not to. You're right. There are so many people doing the damn thing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I smoke so much goddamn weed, so it's
It happens, man. That was a pretty good list, though. I appreciate that.
more or less. We got fucking Decisive. He's another established. Yeah, man, so many motherfuckers.
I mean,
Teo's
Decisive
out
is
here now,
is
I think.
established, but I feel like there's people in Alberta who aren't going to know who Decisive is necessarily. Like,
That's
so yeah,
fair.
yeah.
I think Spesh K lives in Toronto now.
Does he? I thought he
Um,
was out in Halifax, but I don't actually know the guy. I recently featured on a track he's going to be on, but
Oh, right on. That's sick. Yeah, I
yeah,
assume he's Halifax, but I don't know. I think he was just out and about. Yeah, man, there's so many people. But
yeah, hell yeah, man.
Tony
That's a good
Washington,
list.
of course. Well, he's not Toronto. He's more like Saga, but yeah.
Still counts. That counts. So any plans for shows or tours that we can plug coming up? I mean, we talked about the Chaos tour, or
So
not
definitely
tour, the show.
definitely check out. I'm opening for Chaos in Waterloo, June 15th. So 100% be there or be square. And in terms of other shows, I want to do a Montreal release party, so that's gonna happen soon. And I'm gonna berate Fresh Kills until he takes me on his next tour. Because
Yeah.
what the hell?
Yeah, he should, man.
So
Have you ever toured
yeah,
out
man.
west? You ever been out to,
No, man.
Saskatchewan, Alberta, or BC?
No, I've never been west of Ontario, and that sucks.
Do
Like,
it, man. Come play at least Calgary, Edmonton. Calgary, Edmonton have hip hop scenes that you can tap into, and
bro, I would love to. I heard it's the spot now too, and like, yeah, I need to get my ass out there.
hell yeah. What's the best way for people to support you or other artists who they like?
Yeah, the number one thing I tell people to do is to join my Patreon if you haven't yet, because that just basically turns us into the label, and then you're invested in shit, and it gets cooler the more people are in it. So the Myer Clarity Patreon, you could literally just give me $1 a month, and if we get 10 motherfuckers doing that, that's $10 a month. We're at 30 right now, so we're at 30 a month. So let's just keep that number growing.
Beautiful.
Follow me on Instagram, check me out on Spotify, be at the shows, get the album, tip your waiters, show love to your community, and yeah, that's
smart, man. I love the message about Patreon replacing labels. I think it's high time that happened. These fucking billionaire crooks at Universal Music Group, we can replace them if people just stop fucking signing to those major labels. You can do this shit independent. We can go direct to the fans. It's possible.
That's facts. Everyone's always saying like they're gonna vote with their wallet. This is how you invest in things you want to see more of. So if you want more of me, Patreon.
Yeah.
If you don't want more of me, fuck the fuck off over there. Nah.
Support some artists who aren't already millionaires. That's another thing I've been yelling lately. It's all good that we all love Kendrick. We all fucking want to listen to whatever, but like,
yeah.
I mean, we don't need to just listen to them on repeat. Show some love to the guys who are still on the come up. They're making good music. You included for sure.
Yeah, sprinkle in some trenches.
Hell yeah. Where can people find you on social media most often, man?
Yes, so at Myer Clarity, MYERCLARITY. That's basically me on everything except for on Twitter. It's that Myer Clarity. Check me out on TikTok. I think it's Myer Clarity TV. MyerClarity.com. You'll find all the links over there.
Hey, are you more active on Twitter or Threads? I've noticed you do sometimes post on Threads, and like I jumped ship on Twitter a year ago or whatever. I was getting good growth over there, and I was like, no, I can't fuck with this anymore. Like I just, Elon Musk has crashed that thing into the mountain, but now I still go back to it sometimes, and I'm like, fuck, hip hop is still over here operating on Twitter. Like,
bro, it's the Titanic, man. Like it's it's fucked. I think I'm more on Twitter than Threads still, just because it's not muscle memory. Threads is just so sanitized, so I just feel like they're just getting like business announcements, versus Twitter is where you go, like that's where all the mental illness flies.
Shoot your mouth off. Yeah.
That's where you're gonna get canceled.
Hell yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
Don't fuck around and get canceled, man. I want to hear more music from you. And dude, I appreciate your time talking to me for this long. It's been a great interview. But
man, thank you so much for having me. I can't thank you enough for giving me this platform and for shining a light on the music. Yeah, 100% respect what you do, because like, yo, you out here showing love like no other motherfucker to us motherfuckers in the trenches. So
I do my best, man. Every week I drop at least $1 to the people whose singles I like. That's another thing I've been yelling is people can buy digital music. It's great to buy a vinyl. It's great to buy a t-shirt. That's a good thing to do if you got 40 or 50 bucks to spend. But if you got $1 to spend, you can still show some love to your favorite artist. Buy a single you enjoy. But,
exactly. That's it.
Show love, man.
Show support.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate you, and I'll catch you next time, man.
Yes, sir, man. You have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for your time. And yeah, we all we got. So
peace and love, man.
And support.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. That was an extended edition of Fly in Formation. The only place you can find Fly in Formation as the audio-only podcast version is attached to the end of an After the Smoke is Clear episode over on mixcloud.com/Doobyis. Doobyis.com. That's the hub for everything that I do. Shit, I got the old schedule on the screen right now, but let me take that off and show that award that I won a couple years ago for After the Smoke is Clear being the best rap program in the country. That happened. It's got better since then. My homie DJ Dice is doing the mixes most weeks. And we play an hour worth of independent artists from across the country every week. I do my best to tap into as many different scenes as I can. That's why I ask artists like, who should I be listening to in your city? Because now I'm actually going to go through and hit follow on all their socials and everything. So the next time they release music, I can play it for you on After the Smoke is Clear. And like I was telling Myer, I try to do like my best to put together a cohesive hour because I enjoy albums. I like listening to albums. I liked hearing kind of an experience that has an arc to it and makes sense together more so than just a random shuffled playlist. So you know, we do work like Myer was talking about. It does take work to put these things together. I appreciate people who support. If you want to support, you can tell a friend about the show. I appreciate that immensely. You know, there's also various links you can find over at Doobyis.com. There's a donation link or whatever. I've got an email list started up also, so sign up for the email list. That helps me kind of develop the community, come through in Twitch like the homies have today. Appreciate everybody who's in Twitch chat. Feel free to ask questions if you're in Twitch chat and you want to hear an answer to something from whoever I'm talking to. As well, I'm on Twitch, twitch.tv/Doobyis, just putting together the After the Smoke is Clear mixes, talking shit, talking hip hop, whatever. Come through, say hi, more the merrier over there. Coming up for Flying Formation through June here. I'm double booked. We're doing every Saturday at 3, every Tuesday at 7. So June 4th, I'm talking to Calgary-based MC Ben Ugly. That's Tuesday. Oh, I guess before that, I've got a June 3rd interview that's a makeup interview with Toronto-based MC named JRoberts. Looking forward to finishing that off. We got interrupted by some tech difficulties last time. So that'll be Monday at 3. And then Ben Ugly on Tuesday. Then Mitchell Lawler, Edmonton-based MC, talking to him June 8th. That's a Saturday, so it'll be at 3. Another Edmonton-based MC talking to K-Blitz. He's been around doing the damn thing for a long time, and he's still very prolific, very dope. That's June 11th, talking to K-Blitz. Then we're going out to Saskatchewan. It's Big Tones on June 15th. Back to Lethbridge for June 18th. I'm talking to Young Prince Beats. He's a producer here locally. He moved out from London, Ontario. I met him at a show a little while ago. Looking forward to talking to him. Actually, the show that I met him at was a Fresh Kills and King Just show. I'm talking to King Just on June 22nd. Talking to Imperative. He's another Toronto-based producer. Talked to him on June 25th. And then to round out June, on the 29th, I talked to Alchemy the Linguist, who's a producer based in Lethbridge here, as well as the homie Donnie Sage, who's an MC who is often working with Alchemy the Linguist. Looking forward to that. Should be good interviews all through the month. And then through July, I'm taking it off from doing interviews. Might be back in August, might be back in September. We'll see how the summer goes, but it's going to be busy. It's going to be busy. I appreciate people coming through, and I'll catch you all next time.